These veterinarians have a very large, very wild patient on their hands.
This is an adult male, 109 kilos, so over 200 pounds.
Big and strong.
Big and strong, and likely he's here because he has a shark bite. That was probably slowing him down a little bit.
Yeah. The shark bite landed the sea lion at the Marine Mammal Center, right across from San Francisco. They rescue and treat sick and injured animals with the hopes of releasing them back into the wild.
And you can see he's pretty healthy right now. So before we release any animal, we want to do a release exam. So we have to anesthetize him.
After a few minutes, the anesthetic starts to take effect.
He's fighting the effects of the sedative. You know, he's trying to...
He's working hard.
He's like, why am I tired?
He's trying very hard to stay upright.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and start with the procedure. So you can see the fracture.
Oh, yes.
Right there.
Yeah. So the source of this fracture, you think, is from a shark bite?
It looks like a shark bite wound. We'll compare it to previous radiographs to make sure it's not getting worse, but it looks like it's pretty stable. And then this is the wound right here. And it looks like there's still a little bit of infection in that area. The challenge is that these animals go in the water, so it's not like you can send them home and tell them not to get them wet or don't keep it dry, don't run around. Yeah. So Greg's gonna go ahead and just clean that area out. We may likely put him back on some antibiotics for a few more weeks to get that infection under control.
The antibiotics, like much of the medication here, is delivered orally using a delicious delivery system. Lately, they've been going through about 1,000 pounds of fish a day here. It's been an unusually busy few years, and it looks like environmental factors may be to blame. More on that in a minute, but first, the good news.
We're fortunate here in California that the species that we're seeing here have rebounded from the near extinction around the turn of the century when marine mammals were hunted for food and for their oil.
That all changed with the passage of the Marine Mammal Protection Act in 1972. You can see the result at places like Pier 39 in San Francisco.
There was no sea lions there until the 80s, and then a few of them started showing up, and then they started to invade that area. And it's downtown San Francisco.
Yeah.
It's a great tourist attraction, really. It brings people.
Sure.
So, you know, it's great news that the protections that have been put in place have allowed the species to recover. The problem is now the environment that these animals live in is changing so rapidly from increased ocean temperatures and global warming.
And that brings us back to our 200-pound patient.
We're just going to do a quick ultrasound of the abdomen just to verify that he doesn't have any cancer. Every adult that comes in here, about a quarter of them have cancer. The cancer in the sea lions is the highest prevalence of cancer of any wild species.
That's mind-boggling. Why is it so high?
What we found is that it's the environmental factors and toxins and pollutants. So the animals with cancer have higher levels of PCBs and pollutants in their blubber. They also are infected with a herpes virus.
Yes, he said herpes.
So the herpes virus then triggers this uncontrollable growth in the cells, cancer. All right, I think it looks good. I didn't see anything abnormal in this guy, and he doesn't look like a cancer patient.
But like many of the sea lions that show up here, he does seem to be affected by something called domoic acid, a toxin produced by algae.
This toxin goes into the bloodstream, goes into the brain, and they develop seizures. And we've seen record numbers of sea lions affected by domoic acid.
That's because the algae that produces the toxin bloomed all up and down the Pacific coast.
There's a lot of research going into why these blooms are increasing, but it looks like it is directly related to the increased warming ocean temperatures.
Warming waters have also been bringing some very young patients to their doorstep.
We've rescued over 1,000 pups in a single year last year. It was just incredible.
That's a huge number.
Yeah, and these animals were separated from mom early, and they were just a bag of bones. They were basically starving to death. The biologists on the beaches were saying that their mothers were unable to provide the amount of nutrition and milk to feed them.
The problem? Their food has relocated.
When ocean temperatures rise, especially to the unprecedented levels they have this year, the fish are going to go to the environment that best suits them. So they go deeper in the water column, they go farther out to sea.
So the moms couldn't find.
The moms couldn't find any food. The pups were starving to death. And we'd bring them here. We do provide a full veterinary exam on them. Our volunteers start to give them nutrition. And we were able to release quite a few of them, which made us really happy that we were able to help. These sea lions really give us a window to ocean health. We only see them here for a couple months, but when we see an increased number of strandings, we can assume that there's something out of whack. We've protected them from human hunting and interference, but now their environment needs to be protected so that they can thrive.
Urban nature is made possible in part by the following: